There's a big bug in the middle of Enterprise, Alabama. It sits on the statue of a Greek woman. She has white marble arms that extend high above her head, somewhat like the Statue of Liberty. Unlike her more famous counterpart, however, this Alabama lady does not hold a torch. She holds a bug. Well, strictly speaking, she holds a bowl, and there's a bug in the bowl. The bowl is the boll weevil. The insect weighs 50 pounds and is celebrated by a nearby plaque in profound appreciation for the boll weevil and what it has done as the herald of prosperity. The statue was erected in 1919. The bug was added 30 years later. Now, who does this? Why make a big deal out of an ugly weevil? Since its arrival from Mexico in 1892, the pest has cost the cotton industry some $23 billion. The insect does to cotton fields what teenagers do to pizza. Gone in a gobble. By the 1920s, the boll weevil was having its way with the Alabama crops. They could not and would not be eradicated, so why honor them with a statue? Well, the answer has to do with a seed salesman by the name of H.M. Sessions. Realizing that the cash crop of the area was about to be destroyed, he went on a trip in 1916. He traveled through Virginia and North Carolina and saw peanut fields, and he came to learn that peanuts are impervious to the boll weevil. So he brought some peanut seeds back to the area of Enterprise, Alabama, and he recruited the help of a farmer by the name of C.W. Baston. Baston planted them and made $8,000 from his new crop. That's big money in 1916. It was enough for him to pay off all his bills and still have some cash left over. Word spread quickly. Farmers jumped on the peanut bus and drove it straight to the bank. By 1919, when the boll weevil scourge was wreaking its worst havoc, Enterprise, Alabama was making a lot of money. It had become the largest producer of peanuts in the nation. I want to talk to you about your boll weevil. I want to talk to you about whatever it is in your life right now that's nibbling away at your harvest, at your happiness, at your heart. I want to talk to you about whatever scourge is wreaking havoc in your life. For many people, most people, it would be a pandemic. For some people, it would be the peculiar consequences of the pandemic: job loss, health loss, anxiety, isolation, loneliness. For many people, the pandemic has served to exacerbate already existing struggles and fractures in marriages, in careers, in families. These are tough days. So I want to talk to you about your boll weevil. And I'm wondering if you'd be willing to reframe the way you see this plague. You know, the boll weevil has taken much, for sure, but had there been no bug, there would have been no peanuts, or in your case, no struggle would mean no strength, no mountain means no mountain peak. No setback means no comeback, and my dear friend, a comeback is yours for the taking. Boll weevils make us better. Tough times make us stronger. Jews were tiny minnows in the vast Persian Ocean. It wasn't the best of times for God's covenant people. Boll weevils everywhere. But then Mordecai and Esther planted some peanuts. Do you recall? He chose not to bow before the anti-Semitic Haman. And when he chose not to bow, that set in motion a series of events that resulted in Esther taking a stand for her faith, that resulted in the destruction of Haman, who wanted to kill all the Jewish people. Haman himself was killed on the gallows he erected for Mordecai. The people were saved. Everything turned out greater than they could have ever imagined. V-Day celebrations erupted in all corners. The book of Esther does not end with a military victory. The book of Esther ends with a call to remember. I like that because we all tend to forget. We all tend to forget. We tend to forget that God is for us, not against us. We tend to forget that God is near us, not away from us. We tend to forget that God is busy working on our good, not sleepy, dozing on his post. Do we not suffer from spiritual amnesia? Folks, we are worn out. Cases of depression and anxiety are at an all-time high. There's a 26% spike in applications for divorces. Most tragically, the suicide rate continues to increase. We are in desperate need of hope. We're in desperate need of a story of redemption. And by God's great grace, we have one. We have one. The Christian version of the Persian miracle involves not Esther in Susa, but God's Son, Jesus Christ, buried in a tomb. And just as Haman declared a death sentence on the Jews, Satan declared a death sentence on the source of life himself. Jesus was in the tomb. Jesus the Christ was Jesus the corpse. The Savior of humanity couldn't save himself, or so it seemed. The hope was a hoax. The Redeemer was a joke. Jesus, the Son of God, had been done in by the devil, the Haman of hell, or so it seemed. But just when it seemed that all was lost, once again, God turned everything on its head. The heart began to beat. Eyelids popped open. Pierced hands lifted. And Jesus stood up and placed his heel squarely on the head of Satan. The God of the great turnarounds performed his greatest work. And so that we would never forget this moment, on the eve of his crucifixion, Jesus took some bread and he gave thanks and he broke it. And he gave it to the apostles, saying, "This is my body, which I am giving for you. Do this to remember me." Now, these words are precious to Christians, but don't you think they were curious to the apostles? Phrases like a broken body, spilled blood. Can anything good come from this? And you're asking similar questions. Can anything good come from a world gone crazy? Can anything good come from a job that you've lost? From a marriage on the rocks? Can anything good come from these boll weevil attacks? Esther says yes. Easter says yes. Communion says yes. This is the promise of God. It only falls to you and to me to receive the promise, to receive the bread, to receive the cup, to say yes yet again, to keep rowing the boat, to not throw in the towel, to not give up on life, to not cave in to despair. So I close this message as earnestly as I possibly can, because I know that someone somewhere is hearing these words who is at the end of the rope. And I'm begging you, dear friend, hang in there. Hang in there. For all you know, your turnaround is just a turn of the page away. For all you know, you'll be erecting a statue to this boll weevil moment. For all you know, the God of Esther, Easter, and resurrection power is about to perform his greatest miracle for the planet, for the country, and for you.